In college, I essentially bought a girlfriend with money. If she stayed with me, I would pay off her family's high-interest loans from loan sharks. So Miriam, the campus beauty and top student, was forced to be with me for 4 years. Later, my family's business collapsed. I left without a word, and she never looked for me. Sometime after, I was working as a bellhop in a hotel lobby when she appeared. She was a successful businesswoman, featured in a finance magazine. She had a former campus heartthrob by her side. She looked at me, her gaze cold. I mocked myself. Do you want to slap me? Her eyes gradually reddened. I wanted it for a long time. Years after graduation, I pulled open a guest car door. I never expected to see Miriam after 4 years. I quickly lowered my head and stepped back, bowing to open the hotel's main entrance. I was terrified she would recognize me. Austin got out of the car, following closely beside her. He was the campus heartthrob back then, and he still looked dazzling. Just as I was silently praying they wouldn't notice me, Miriam called out, "Please store my suitcase for me." I remember my duties, bent down and pushed her suitcase to the side. Miriam was still as pristine and gentle as she was 4 years ago. 4 years apart felt like half a century. Her group consisted of 7 or 8 people, chatting animatedly. The atmosphere relaxed. "Austin, our star reporter, have you won over Ms. Miriam yet?" Austin grinned broadly, revealing a set of white teeth. "Is that even a question? Look who's by Ms. Miriam's side," someone said admiringly. "Ms. Miriam, you and Mr. Austin are truly a handsome couple, a match made in heaven." My hand holding a suitcase paused. A mix of emotions churned within me. Miriam hummed in acknowledgement. The group boisterously headed to the front desk to check in. I kept my back bowed the entire time, just wanted to get away from them quickly. I picked up the suitcases, stacking them one by one onto the luggage cart. Losing focus for a moment, a suitcase ran over my foot. I hissed in pain, drawing glances from the guests. The suitcases tumbled, scattering on the floor. Austin immediately complained. "What's going on? Can't you even push a cart properly? I have valuables in here. Can you afford to compensate if they're damaged?" I apologized profusely. "I'm sorry. I'll clean it up right away." A sharp pain shot through my injured ankle. I could only limp as I pushed the luggage, quickly moving to the side. Miriam suddenly stopped me. Each word hit me like a blow to the heart. "Wait a second." My body froze instantly. The air seemed to thicken. The lobby manager opportunely walked over, rescuing me. "I apologize. This bellhop is new. He just started a few days ago. Allow me to assist you." The lobby manager gave me a nudge. "Hurry up and go greet other guests at the entrance." I quickly scurried away. Afterward, the lobby manager told me, "Be smarter next time. These are important people. If you get a complaint, you won't pass your probation." "Thank you, manager. I need to take care of my foot. Could you please deliver their bags to their rooms later?" "Sure. Don't worry about it." I breathed a sigh of relief. If there was anyone in this world I was most afraid of encountering, it was Miriam. The ex-boyfriend who once grandly promised her the world, had now hit rock bottom. I remember the first time I saw Miriam. It was at Boba Bliss, right by the campus entrance. She wore an apron and a pair of cute bunny ears, her whole being practically glowing behind the counter. For several days, I sat outside the boba shop, watching her deftly make drinks. She worked from 4 in the afternoon until 9 at night, and I heard she only made $50 a day. I never saw her eat dinner. She just set aside the messed up drinks and have those instead. I found out she was a freshman on a scholarship, struggling financially. I loved the way her watery eyes looked at people, loved the faint, youthful scent that always clung to her. Sometimes I'd deliberately spill a little boba when taking it, just to watch her flusteredly help me wipe my hand. I heard the school had waived her tuition, but she had to earn her own living expenses. The more I saw her, the more I liked her. One evening, on a quiet path on campus, I stopped her. My face flushed, and I confessed, "Miriam, I like you. Be my girlfriend. I have a lot of allowance money. I won't let you suffer." She took a step back and walked around me. I was rejected. Sometimes, the more you can't have something, the more you want it. My life had been too smooth. My family gave me tens of thousands in allowance every month. The more she rejected me, the more I wanted to win her over. Another time, I had a bit to drink and couldn't hold back anymore, cornering her against a wall. "Miriam, can I kiss you?" Miriam didn't dare look at me, her long eyelashes lowered. Her lips were pressed a little too tightly, making them even redder. My heart skipped a beat, and I leaned in and kissed her for a full minute. I kissed her until her lips were swollen before I let go. My eyes were shining, but her ears were completely red. I realized I had offended her, but growing up, I'd always been able to solve problems with money. I quickly pulled out $300 from my pocket and stuffed it into her hand. Miriam's expression shifted from shy to stunned, then to disbelief as she realized what was happening. I couldn't bring myself to look her in the eye and turned to run. A few days later, when I went to buy boba again, the napkin accompanying my drink had the $300 tucked inside. She looked at me with cool determination, her eyes full of stubbornness. "If you're looking for fun, plenty of people are willing to cling to you. I'm not one of them." I felt like she was a goddess, high and unattainable, and my advances were blasphemy. I didn't dare try anything anything like that again. Until one night, after the boba shop closed, she didn't go back to her dorm, but headed off campus. I followed her. Several menacing figures cornered her against a wall, a knife pressed to her neck. Those men looked ferocious, shouting harshly, "Your gambler father owes $70,000, and you're the one who's going to pay it back." She pulled out all the money she had and gave it to them. A few $100 bills were tossed into the air. I rushed forward and shielded her. "Give me the account number. Take the $70,000 and don't ever bother her again." The debt collectors finally left after getting the money. Miriam finally relaxed. She said to me, "Thank you. I'll write you an IOU. I will definitely pay you back." I grinned like a rascal. "What are you talking about? Be my girlfriend and we'll call this debt square." Miriam stared at me for a long time. Tears she had been holding back, now streaming down her face. I thought she was still upset about what had just happened, so I pulled her into my arms, gently patting her back with my right hand. That night, she didn't give me a clear answer. But the next day, she unusually waited for me outside my classroom until class ended. When the bell rang, I rushed out of the classroom and she proactively took my hand. From then on, Miriam finally became my girlfriend. I proudly puffed out my chest in front of her. Money makes the world go round. I thought gratitude would surely turn into love, but it was much later that I understood. Her once stubborn dignity vanished that day. She never spent my money and did everything she could for me, like doing laundry, buying breakfast, and saving seats. She still worked part-time every day to earn money. She was like a little follower obediently trailing behind me. I was content. During winter and summer breaks, I absolutely forbade her from working. I took her traveling all over the country, even internationally. I took her to the northernmost part of the earth to see the aurora borealis, to admire the unobstructed starry sky. I took her diving into the deep sea, accompanied by colorful tropical fish. In the prime of our youth, we gave ourselves to each other. She blossomed under my care, her complexion becoming rosy. Her face became as lovely as a peach blossom in March. But gradually, more unpleasant rumors started circulating around campus. They said she was a gold digger willing to sell anything. I didn't care. I wished she were more materialistic. At least I had plenty of money. The year we graduated, my parents invested in a disastrous project and went bankrupt overnight. Falling from grace, I couldn't accept it. But what I couldn't accept most was that I was useless to Miriam anymore. How could someone like me have the nerve to stay by her side? On the day I received my diploma, I saw her from afar in her graduation gown, but I didn't see her for a final goodbye. I cut off all contact and boarded a slow train to a city in California. That is, until I ran into Miriam again today. She was, as I had imagined, successful in her career. With her excellence, just 4 years after graduation, she had become a rising female entrepreneur. Austin, the former campus heartthrob, a man with high standards, was now by her side. I wasn't surprised Miriam would choose him. He was tall, handsome, and successful. At least, he was more suitable for Miriam than I was now. I sprayed pain reliever on my ankle. Gradually, the pain subsided, but my heart still ached sharply. Midnight arrived. My shift ended. I finally didn't have to stand in the cold wind at the entrance. I went back to the 5th floor locker room, changed into my own clothes, and prepared to go home. The elevator descended. It reached the 1st floor, and the doors opened. Miriam walked in alone. The moment before she could see my face, I quickly turned to face the wall. She stood with her back to me and closed the elevator doors. The elevator ascended towards the 18th floor. The space was small. I felt like I couldn't breathe. "Is your foot injury okay?" Her tone was light. I realized she was talking to me. I answered softly, "It's fine, thanks for asking." I didn't dare say more, keeping my head down like a chastised elementary school student. I stood facing the wall. Miriam never turned around, just chatted casually with me. "Going home so late? Won't your girlfriend be scared at home alone?" I didn't know how to answer. After a moment, she said softly, "My boyfriend has no sense of direction. He can't even find his way home after dark." The word boyfriend stung. She must be talking about Austin. The sourness in my heart intensified. The elevator reached the 18th floor and finally stopped. Miriam suddenly moved. She grabbed my sleeve and pulled me out of the elevator. Just like I had once pinned her against a wall, she now pinned me against one. Her tone was stern. "Edward, are you still pretending you don't know me? Where else are you planning to hide?" Miriam's imposing aura had never weakened. In the past, one cold glare from her and I'd cower like a cat. She had recognized me. Those watery eyes were as clear as a spring. I greedily traced the outline of the beautiful face, pushed close to mine. My heart was pounding in my ears. Her scent was still the one I remembered. Only her once innocent gaze had become more mature and decisive, leaving without a word. "You've got some nerve. No one could find you." I looked away. My heart raced, words tumbling out incoherently. "You should know, my family went bankrupt. I have no money." "Then why didn't you tell me at the time? I thought something had happened to you." I was about to explain. "Miriam, what's wrong?" I quickly pushed Miriam away and stepped aside. Austin, wearing pajamas, his tall figure exerting pressure, walked towards me. As he got closer, he recognized me. "You're that rich kid, Edward. disappeared. Everyone thought you'd vanished off the face of the earth. I didn't expect to find you here. The words rich kid made my face burn with shame. None of your business. Austin looked me up and down. Oh, so you were that bellhop earlier? He pulled Miriam to his side, saying affectionately, Miriam, should we help him out so you won't feel bad about all the time? Miriam didn't speak, just stared at me fiercely, as if she wanted to devour me whole. I lifted my chin. Thanks, but no thanks. My girlfriend has money. When I get married, I'll send you an invitation. Miriam was completely stunned. The girlfriend I mentioned was someone I had run into a few months ago. She was also a college classmate, Lucy. She had pursued me in school, but I had ruthlessly rejected her. A few months ago, she happened to order takeout that I was delivering. I couldn't avoid her. The way she looked at me was like a predator eyeing its prey. She said to me, if you get with me, I can help you pay off your debts. But I didn't want to. The next morning, I went to my freelance company to submit some work, and unexpectedly, I saw Miriam. She was discussing a partnership with my boss. I was about to slip away when my boss called out to me, Ms. Miriam, the main modules in this project were done by this young man. Miriam turned her head to look at me, clearly astonished. I was a contract worker for this company. They'd hire me whenever they had projects. Because I did good work, my boss had always appreciated me. Ms. Miriam, if you have any questions about this module, you can ask him directly. Miriam said slowly, that's perfect. I have many questions. He can accompany me for the next 2 days. My boss readily agreed, without even consulting me. After the discussion, Miriam gestured for me to follow her. I stuck my hands in my pockets and shook my head, refusing. Sorry, I have other work. Miriam didn't believe me. I opened a local job search website on my phone. See, my schedule is full. Later, I have to go move goods at a supermarket. Miriam looked at the screen in disbelief. I quickly slipped away. I didn't know she had been following me. I arrived at the supermarket warehouse, changed into my work uniform, put on white gloves, and walked toward the parked truck. My task was to unload the goods from the truck and stack them in the supermarket's warehouse or on the shelves. Even though it was a cold winter day, I took off my jacket, wearing only thin clothes underneath. I hadn't moved many boxes before sweat started to bead on my forehead. Years of manual labor had made my body strong and fit. I was even more muscular than in college, and tanner too. Because I was dodging debt collectors, I couldn't find a formal job. Those creditors were like ghosts. They were everywhere. If I officially joined any company, they would definitely find out. So I could only take on programming gigs and do odd jobs. After earning money, I'd keep enough for basic living expenses and give the rest to the creditors. The fruit boxes were particularly heavy. I carried them on my shoulder, bracing the box with my cheek, then carefully stacked them on the shelves. I worked efficiently and neatly. It was clear I was an experienced worker. In college, I was the one being served, completely inept at physical labor. But these past few years, I had endured all sorts of hardships. I had delivered food, worked as a courier, and manned a barbecue grill. I had tried almost every kind of job imaginable. Wherever there was a need for labor, I was there. I even experienced saving spoiled food for dinner. Because of my injured foot from yesterday, I wasn't very agile while moving the goods. After a while, my foot started to hurt again, and my steps became somewhat unsteady. But I persisted until all the goods were unloaded. My leg was trembling and felt weak. But I still had the presence of mind to joke around with the person next to me as if the pain didn't exist. Miriam waited until I finished working, then appeared with reddened eyes. We need to talk. I shook my head. You should go. Miriam tried to take my hand. Your foot is badly injured. Come back with me. I'll take care of it. My hands were dirty from moving goods, and they were also trembling. I put my hands behind my back. Ms. Miriam, we both have partners. We should be like two parallel lines that never intersect, right? The sentence seemed to have a powerful impact. Miriam's breathing quickened, and she suddenly became angry. I still owe you money. Don't you want it? I felt like I had been stabbed. Out of defensiveness, I immediately retorted. Didn't you pay it all back in college? You. Miriam's chest heaved with anger. I mocked myself. Are you thinking of slapping me now? Miriam's eyes reddened instead. I wanted to slap you for a long time. I picked up my jacket, ready to leave. Suddenly, an iMessage popped up on my phone. It was a local gig alert. The address was on Central Avenue. The task was to fix a toilet. I waved my phone at Miriam. Another job came in. I have to go fix a toilet. I rode my electric scooter to the job location. It was a high-end service apartment building. I rang the doorbell for a long time, but no one answered. After a while, the sound of high heels clicking approached, and Miriam appeared behind me. She pressed her thumb on the fingerprint scanner. With a beep, the door opened, and a voice said, "Welcome home." I placed the order. This apartment hasn't been used for a long time, so I guess the toilet was clogged. I stood there stunned, but eventually entered the apartment. All the furniture inside was covered with white cloths, clearly indicating it had been uninhabited for a long time. Miriam tidied up a bit and opened the windows to air out the place. I looked down and asked her, "Where's the toilet?" Miriam pointed to a room inside. I went in and checked. The toilet wasn't broken at all. Miriam leaned against the door frame, arms crossed, watching me. "If you don't fix it properly, I'll file a complaint." I knew I couldn't leave, so I sat down on the sofa. Miriam Miriam found a first aid kit and took out the pain relief spray. Take off your sock. Let me see. I froze. After working all day, I could imagine how bad my foot smelled. I don't. Miriam directly reached for my foot. I struggled desperately, trying to maintain the little dignity I had left. After a fruitless struggle, Miriam panted, shook the spray can, and then pointed to her phone. The meaning was clear. Disobey and get a complaint. She had me by my weak spot. I had no choice but to give in. Sitting on the sofa, I took off my sock. As expected, an extremely unpleasant, sour smell filled the air. She seemed to have no sense of smell, spraying the medicine on my already swollen ankle. Then she used her hands to rub it vigorously. The moment her hands touched my ankle, a strange electric current shot through my entire body. We used to be incredibly harmonious. We knew every sensitive spot on each other's bodies. Her hands moved up from my ankle, massaging my cramping calf muscles. My whole body tensed up, every nerve on fire. Miriam was doing this deliberately. She knew exactly how to arouse my interest. Before I completely lost it, I pressed her hand down, my face red, and said, "It's enough." I quickly put my sock back on, stuffed my foot into my slipper, determined to protect that tiny bit of embarrassing pride. Miriam poured 2 glasses of water, one for each of us, looking like she wanted to have a long talk. "Tell me about your girlfriend." I was silent for a moment. "I'm planning to marry her. She can help me pay off my debts." Miriam looked into my eyes. "You're lying. Your boss said you don't have a girlfriend at all." I retorted, "I only do odd jobs for him. How would he know if I have one or not?" Miriam's eyelashes fluttered violently. "I can also help you pay off your debts. Why won't you marry me?" "But Austin is your boyfriend, isn't he? How can you be eyeing someone else while you're with him?" Miriam explained, "He's not my boyfriend. We're just using each other, putting on a show for outsiders." What did using each other mean? Matching status and position was also a kind of need. With my current status, I couldn't even pretend to be with Miriam. Miriam pulled up a video on her phone and showed it to me. It was a conversation between her and Austin. They pretended to be a couple, attending necessary events together. It was to fend off unnecessary trouble for each other, and either party could terminate the arrangement at any time. I felt a little better, but what did this have to do with me? Miriam moved closer to me, her youthful scent already drifting into my nostrils. "Edward, tonight, can we just..." Then my phone rang. It was a video call. It was Lucy. "Honey, where are you?" Miriam looked as if she had been struck by lightning. The news of my reappearance exploded in our old college group iMessage. I was completely unaware. Austin had already posted several photos of me in my down-and-out state in the iMessage group. There were pictures of me as a bellhop, moving goods, and even one of me in a delivery uniform speeding along on the road. He had also shared my contact information. His intention was to humiliate me, but among them were also some close friends of mine, like my roommate Christopher. He called me, roaring like a T-Rex before breaking down into sobs. "You bastard. You were so good to us in college. When you fell on hard times, you just silently left for another place. How do you expect us, your brothers, to feel?" I couldn't help but shed tears. Christopher immediately flew in from out of state to see me. He hugged me tightly, crying like a child. From him, I learned some stories I had never known. After I left without a word, back then, the person I'd wronged the most wasn't them, but Miriam. She had searched for me like a madwoman. She begged everyone who might possibly know my whereabouts. She even went to my home, only to find out about the family's misfortune. And at that time, a guy from another department lied to her, saying he knew where I was. The guy tricked her into a karaoke bar. That night, she was bullied so badly she almost didn't make it out. The incident escalated, and to protect herself, she smashed a bottle over someone's head, and the matter ended up at the police station. Later, it was discovered that the guy from the other department had set a trap, just wanted to mess with her. I couldn't imagine how many difficulties Miriam had encountered without me by her side. How did she deal with these people? How did she pull through? Christopher said she sat at the entrance of the police station and cried all night. After that, she stopped blindly searching for me and no longer easily trusted others. She started working desperately to earn money. She first joined a company and mastered the core technology within a short year. Later, she ventured out on her own to start a business. In just 3 years, she became a well-known female entrepreneur. Christopher told me that although she no longer openly looked for me, she worked so hard because she wanted you to see her and come back to her. Voluntarily. "You jerk. You let us down. How could you let her down?" My heart felt like it was being crushed by a giant stone. My lips trembled incessantly. "Really? But I'm even less worthy of her now." Christopher slammed the table hard. "Does she care if you're poor and destitute? She cares about you." I couldn't believe it. For 4 years in college, I had tied her to my side with money. It had always been me liking her. I never thought she truly had feelings for me. A long time ago, after she got together with me, she voluntarily took on the task of washing my clothes. She never used the school's washing machines, preferring to wash them by hand. Her hands were covered in chilblains during the cold winter, and it pained me to see. She said coolly that she didn't want to owe me. This was the only way she could repay me. And before every trip I took, she would help me pack my suitcases. She was very patient. She was able to utilize every corner of the suitcase. At that time, I thought she pursued perfection in everything she did for me. Later, I realized this was just her usual way of doing things. When she packed suitcases, she was meticulous, but I thought she hadn't put her heart into it. More importantly, I overheard her telling her roommate that she didn't want to get married. And what I had always wanted was the one thing she had never given, her true heart. Austin asked to meet me. He told me that Miriam still had very important matters to attend to at her company. But because of me, Miriam was staying here and refused to leave. If you ever liked her, please let her return to her normal life. Facing the radiant Austin, I felt increasingly consumed by jealousy. You and her are just putting on an act. What right do you have to meddle in her affairs? Austin was surprised that I knew. What does that matter? I like her. My status and position are the most compatible with hers. Now, you can only drag her down. Do you think if the media found out that Miriam has a boyfriend like you, how damaging would it be to her career? Austin's words were truly hurtful, but I had to admit he was right. A renowned female entrepreneur, if she had a poor, debt-ridden boyfriend, even if she helped me pay off the debts, I would ultimately cause her to be gossiped about. And how could someone like me, who had fallen into the dust, be worthy of her? So what you need to do now is make her give up on this. Think about how hard it has been for her to get where she is. Austin's words were like a sharp blade, cutting my heart into pieces. My voice was hoarse. Then what do you want me to do? Miriam ultimately couldn't resist the urging from her company headquarters. She had no reason to stay here any longer. She sent me an iMessage saying she was preparing to fly back today. She also said she would come back in a couple of days, asking me to wait for her. When Lucy appeared before her, arm in arm with me, Miriam's face immediately darkened. I heard you were leaving, so I came especially to see you off. This is my girlfriend, Lucy. Lucy nodded haughtily. Miriam pressed her lips together tightly, not a trace of a smile on her face. She stared at me intently. What's so good about her? I didn't dare look her in the eye, lower my gaze. When I was at my lowest, she was the one who walked through it with me. And she also promised to help me pay off my debts. We're planning to get married next month. Austin walked over and put his arm intimately around Miriam's waist. Miriam, times have changed. Edward has found his own happiness. Once you pay him back the money, you two will be even. Austin took a $70,000 check from his assistant beside him and handed it to me. Lucy took it from me. My body was stiff, but I still had to finish acting out this scene. Miriam, don't worry. I'll take good care of him. I really liked him back in college. A terrifying light glinted in Miriam's eyes. Edward, I'm asking you one last time. Are you and Lucy really together? I closed my eyes. Yes. Miriam's face turned pale. She swayed violently and fell into Austin's arms. Lucy suddenly smiled at me. I don't think Miriam quite believes us. Edward, why don't you kiss me? She looked at me playfully, her eyes also carrying a warning. She and I had reached an agreement. She would help me act first, and then I would help her act. I gritted my teeth and placed a kiss near her lips. I couldn't act anymore. I didn't know if Miriam was hurt by me, but I knew I had stabbed myself deeply. There was a huge hole in my chest, and blood kept gushing out, impossible to stop. I didn't dare look at her again and ran off, pulling Lucy with me. Suddenly, a roar came from behind. Edward, you bastard. I turned back and saw the despair and breakdown on Miriam's face. She screamed, trying to rush towards me, but Austin held her back. Tears streamed down her face. Lucy squeezed my arm. Let's go. Don't let all this effort go to waste. I hardened my heart and walked out of the airport terminal, tearing up the check. After returning from the airport, my soul felt like it had been sucked out. It wasn't until evening that I started to recover a little. Lucy called me, reminding me of what I had promised her. I had promised to help her get rid of Suitor. In a private room at a karaoke bar, Lucy and two other women were already waiting. Seeing me enter, Lucy smiled like an enchanting poppy. Sisters, let me introduce you. This is the man I've set my sights on. What do you think? Isn't he handsome? He's the only dreamboat who ever rejected me. But with that face and body, I just can't forget him. I felt something was off. Lucy, where's the guy you said was pursuing you? Lucy patted my shoulder. Don't be anxious. He'll be here soon. Come, have some water first. The women started singing, leaving me aside. I had no energy for this and just wanted to get it over with. I finished a whole glass of water and still no man had arrived. I was getting impatient. Is he coming or not? If not, I'm leaving. Lucy sat down beside me, the scent of expensive perfume wafting into my nose. But I didn't like it at all. I preferred the natural, youthful scent that Miriam had. I shifted to the side and suddenly felt a bit dizzy. Lucy put her arm on my shoulder, her voice drawling. Edward, what's the hurry? If they don't come, you're the star of the show today. Isn't that better? Another woman also sat down beside me. Yeah, look at that face. He hasn't even had a drink, and it's already flushed. I felt something was very wrong. A small wave of heat rose from my lower abdomen. My head became dizzier, and my body started to feel increasingly uncomfortable. I desperately wanted to cool down. I grabbed another glass of water from the table and gulped it down. I wanted to go out for some fresh air. I stood up, but stumbled back onto the sofa. I suddenly realized, Lucy, did you drug the water? Lucy Lucy dropped the pretense. Edward, this is the price for rejecting me back then. My pupils constricted in fear. You want revenge? Lucy laughed loudly. Of course, I want revenge on you. It would help you pay your debts. You're just an ant I can crush now. What can you do? You have no money now, and you've broken the heart of the woman who loves you most. Who's going to help you now? The woman who loves me most? You mean Miriam, of course. The whole world knows Miriam loves you the most. Only you think she doesn't like you. It's just a pity. Back then in school, Austin and I spread so many rumors about her, and you still didn't dump her. So that's how it was. Wasn't Austin then a wolf in sheep's clothing by Miriam's side? No, I had to tell Miriam. I couldn't let her be deceived. Lucy pressed me down. Even though you're broke, this body of yours still pleases me greatly. I was furious, wanting to grab a wine bottle from the table to defend myself. Pathetically, I could barely stand. The waves of heat rolling through my body were making me lose my sanity. Lucy's hand touched my face, and I actually felt a strange sense of comfort. I was on the verge of a mental breakdown. I remembered what Christopher told me about the time Miriam was deceived. I fumbled for the wine bottle on the table and smashed it hard against the edge of the coffee table. At the same time, with a loud bang, the door to the room was kicked open. Miriam, her face tense, burst in aggressively. Behind her were restrained Austin and a group of bodyguards. She had heard everything Lucy said. When she saw the scene in the private room, with Lucy pressed on top of me, she flew into a rage. Take pictures, gather evidence, and pull this bitch off him. Lucy panicked. Miriam, why are you back? Unfortunately for you, Lucy, I heard your grand speech outside the door, so there was such a malicious dog by my side. Austin shouted. Miriam, don't listen to Lucy's nonsense. She's trying to find someone to blame. My feelings for you are genuine. Miriam said coldly. Austin, remember your position. You're a financial reporter now, not a paparazzi. Any stain on your reputation will be your downfall. And you, Lucy, the evidence from tonight is enough to send you to jail. From now on, our company will never cooperate with your family again. I believe your father will be very happy to hear this. Lucy was thunderstruck. She was terrified, writhing, trying to throw herself at Miriam's feet to beg for mercy. But the bodyguards held her firmly, and she couldn't move. The other two women cowered in a corner, trembling. Miriam stepped forward and patted my face a couple of times. Idiot, wake up. I wasn't very conscious, just vaguely smelling the familiar scent entering my nostrils. I immediately clung to her, whispering in Miriam's ear, Miriam, I'm hot. I'm so hot. Miriam took me back to her place. She and I spent a passionate night together, and I, like dry tinder that hadn't been lit for 4 years, was instantly ignited. Every fiber of my being was burning like a tireless bull, going at it all night before finally calming down. The next morning, I woke up, but Miriam was gone. I felt very anxious, not knowing if Miriam would blame me. She might be angry. She had been forced to be with me originally, and now she was forced to sleep with me again. I dazedly returned to my own home. The moment I opened the door, I was shocked. Miriam and my parents were sitting on the sofa, chatting. I even stuttered, how are you here? To prevent you from disappearing to a place where I can't find you again. It's more convenient to contact your parents. Uncle, Auntie, Edward slept with me and doesn't want to take responsibility. I almost choked on my own saliva. My mother glared at me fiercely. You two young ones have a good talk. Explain our family situation clearly to the young lady. My parents had met Miriam before. They hadn't liked her much then, thinking her family was too poor. But this time, they also regretted their previous behavior. My parents shooed us into the bedroom. We sat side by side on the bed. I was as flustered as a clueless young man. After a long pause, I asked, last night, did I hurt you? As soon as the words left my mouth, I wanted to slap myself. Why say that of all things? Miriam took my hand. She called my name all night. My face turned beet red. I'm sorry. Miriam squeezed my hand firmly. I'm asking you one last time, Edward. Do you or do you not like me? You don't. I like you, but you never liked me. Why do you say that? You never said you liked me. And you told your roommate yourself that you didn't want to get married after graduation. That day, when I was hiding behind a tree, intending to surprise Miriam, I overheard her conversation with her roommate. Her roommate asked if she would get married immediately after graduation, and she said she didn't want to get married. When I heard it with my own ears, it was a huge blow. Miriam recalled with some confusion. What I said at the time was that I didn't want to get married, meaning I wanted to establish my career first before settling down. I wanted to build something with you, not always hide under the protection you provided for me. So that's what it was. My heart trembled. An answer that was about to burst forth was right before my eyes. You mean you like me too? You weren't forced. Miriam wrapped her arms around my waist and rested her head on my shoulder. The first time you came to the boba shop, I thought, this guy is incredibly handsome. And if I didn't like you, would I have let you kiss me? So that first time, under the flowers and moonlight by the wall, was truly mutual affection. My heart had never felt so content. The girl I loved me back. My gaze fell upon the dilapidated bedroom, and my recently warmed heart instantly cooled down again. But look at me now. Miriam interrupted me. Are you talking about your family's debt? She took out a share transfer agreement. When I was able to start my own business, I used the money you left in my bank account. So you are considered an original shareholder of my company. I'm settling the accounts with you now. You provided the capital, I provided the effort. We each own 50% of the shares. The current value of your shares is more than enough to pay off your family's debt. I couldn't believe it. My hand holding the agreement started to tremble. Is this real? It's real. In college, I also always thought you were just playing around with me, not genuinely liking me. So I was constantly struggling between liking you and feeling indebted to you. But now I've figured it out. We too are destined by fate, meant to achieve things together. All the misunderstandings were cleared up and all the difficulties were overcome. Miriam and I were finally together. The road of this life is still very long, but no matter how long it is, we have the confidence to walk it together.